Ready?
I'm ready.
Okay, let's go.
Go. Welcome, everyone, to episode number 3. Wow, we've hit it. We've hit 3. That's like a milestone of the Is This Love podcast. The podcast where we navigate and discuss the weird and wonderful world of love and relationships with myself, Francis, a.k.a. the other guy, and with her hair down, blowing in the wind, Miss Sara, Nade. Hi, Sara. How's it going?
I'm good, Francis. How are you?
I'm doing well. I'm excited to actually answer some questions from the audience today. It'll be interesting because there's a lot here. And hopefully, we'll get more and more and more, and then we're going to have too many, and then we're going to have to start picking and choosing. Like that's my goal, is to have too many, is to just be overwhelmed with questions. But we've already been through 2 episodes, and I just wanted to just see where you were with this whole experience, having done 2 whole episodes of a podcast. How have you thought of the experience so far?
Oh, it's different for sure. It's very interesting to hear my own voice when I'm playing the recordings back. And
that is, yeah.
I mean,
I do. Oh, yes.
I've been doing this for a minute.
Yeah. That's the hardest part, really, is the listening to yourself, I think.
It is very weird. I guess I get used to it. I feel like sometimes I'm listening to my sister's voice. I think we sound similar. Actually, I have 2 sisters. I kind of think I hear my younger sister's voice more.
Well, I mean, you're related. I would hope that there's some level of of similarity in there somewhere.
Yeah, it's actually really interesting. I think I look more like my older sister, but I guess I found out that I sound more like my younger sister. So there you go.
Well, that's why you're in the middle.
That is why I'm in the middle.
All right. Well, look, if you want to be like these fine folk who have asked us some pretty intense questions already, like this is, we're going from A to Z right now in forms of questions because we got a lot here. But if you want to do that, go ahead and send an email to IsThisLovePod@gmail.com. Sara's going to have to get used to that. To the Love Pod. And if you, or you can go ahead and go to sinceresarcasm.net. That's where the website is. I haven't quite gotten IsThisLove.com ready for some reason. I have to figure it out. Once that's ready and up and running, you can go ahead and go there. But go to my main site, sinceresarcasm.net. You can find the episode and leave a comment, just like this person did the Facebook page. So that's facebook.com/IsThisLovePod. I'm pretty sure it's IsThisLovePod. Yeah. Anyway,
is that what it is?
I'm looking. I'm like going there now just to make sure. Yeah. Is This Love Pod? Yes. Is This Love Pod? So everything's the same. Is This Love Pod across the board? Instagram, Twitter, Facebook, email, everything, all the same. We are all about synergy. So go ahead and do that. All right. Let's get started on question number 1. So I don't know if I'm going to have you read this one out because there's so much going on. I thought maybe if you'd like to pick out particular questions from this. This is from who on the website would be called Right Cow Left Coast. He's the guy who does these types of questions. So if there's any particular questions, because if there's something he's very good at is asking us a lot of questions, and we may not get to all of them, unfortunately, because we also want to get to Anthony's question that was sent via email. So anything there that you were interested in answering in regards to questions he has?
Okay, this is an interesting one. I'm just going to read it as I see it.
Yes.
Okay. Flirting, both verbal and nonverbal communication. Mm-hmm. Miscommunication is more common than actual proper receiving purpose and contexts of communication. Is it due to the reduction of formal, systematic, cultural, designating courting systems with established norms, procedures, and steps? You're distracting me. Hold on. Surely anthropologists have studied courtship across multiple cultures and been able to catalog similarities and differences of courtship in those different cultures.
Okay. Thank you for using as many gigantic words as possible, right, Kyle?
I think I did an okay job with all the syllables and pronunciations in there.
It was fantastic. I just think that there's too many of them, that he wrote too many of them.
He's very verbose.
Yeah.
And I will give him that.
Yeah.
Yes, he has a great vocabulary.
He does. He's very learned, so it totally makes sense to me. You know what? When it comes to flirting, I do believe there's a lot of miscommunication. Again, I am under the impression that when a woman flirts, they're just being very nice to me. That it isn't really flirtation, but that it's good to be polite. Like when a man is polite to a woman, usually there isn't much second thought. But when a woman is polite to a guy, much like the questions we had a couple weeks ago, or last week, I'm sorry, there were people where flirting was just kind of in their nature, right? There was just something that they did, and it wasn't really them trying to pick up on anyone or hook up with anyone. It was just kind of how they communicated. I don't know if you noticed that from your end.
Well, like I said, I've been out of the flirting game for a while because I've done a lot of online dating. And if people have been flirting with me, I don't go to bars, not in a long time. So it probably would have been like at work or something. And I just don't think that really happened very much. I did have some coworkers express outright that they were interested, but
oh, wow.
Yeah, which is appreciated. I would probably prefer that than just months of not knowing and them thinking that they're flirting with me and me thinking I'm just being polite.
Exactly.
But yeah, I guess I have a hard time with giving a lot of answers for like flirting is like these days. And he talks about like cultural norms with courtship. But like I said, when I'm flirting with someone, we've already pretty much like matched up on the app. So it's pretty much a pretty clear vibe going both ways. And that's one nice thing about the apps.
That's true. Yeah. There's no miscommunication there because everyone's kind of on those apps. Well, they have a focused reason for being there. So you're not like, there's no miscommunication, no misunderstanding as to why you're talking to one another. As far as I know. Maybe, I don't know, maybe you're just looking for someone to dance with or something and you're going on there to look for a dance partner or friends. Like I often actually see in dating apps like friends only on the, on the descriptor. So
yeah,
people are pretty upfront about that. Culturally, I don't know anymore. I don't think so. I think there's not a lot of differences for the most part. I think even in the animal kingdom, I'm thinking like peacocks. What do? They dance around with their feathers in the air, right? Like,
it's so funny.
Right? But that's how they show interest. Like, oh, let me show you how cool I am.
They like shake their butts and their like feathers fan out. But it's really funny because then they curve the feathers in and like do this aggressive thing at the lady.
Exactly. Yeah, exactly. And that's kind of what guys do a little bit, but in more in a machismo sort of way, right? Like, hey, hello, let me just saunter over here with my muscles and show off. Right, though? I mean, there's a little bit of that, And for the ladies, the current relationship I'm in was all online, so the flirting wasn't as blatant. But when it was in person with my ex, she even actively said, I dressed a certain way to get your attention. Like, I wanted to get your attention when you were obviously interested in me. I'm like, yeah, okay, cool. So people will dress, act, move. I think it's a universal language. I think flirting is pretty universal. Just like a smile is fairly universal. Yeah.
I mean, I guess it's true that people do misinterpret niceness for flirting, and I don't know what it feels like to have a girl maybe flirting with me or maybe not. But I will say, I actually am remembering that I have been flirted with by people who it was very obvious. And one of them was a workplace person, but it was very obvious. But it was also one of those things where nothing could happen. It was just like they enjoyed flirting and a lot of like coming to my desk a lot throughout the day, even though it was not for work related things. They just wanted to come talk and like show me something or like tell jokes and like lean way over. And it was just it was kind of like friendly flirting because nothing could happen. But There's definitely a body and verbal language to it for sure.
Yeah. So I think that answers that question. Were there any other questions in there that you're interested in finding out about? Because, yeah, I think that was fairly that was explained fairly thoroughly.
This was kind of interesting. I'd be interested on your perspective on it. What advice do you have for individuals attempting to be a suitor? What are do's and don'ts that you would tell anyone who would listen?
So, like a suitor is what? It's like someone who's
I don't know. I was hoping you would know.
I'm going to look up suitor because I mean, that's a word that a man.
Is that just someone who wants someone else to date them?
Yes, a man who pursues a relationship with a particular woman with a view to marriage. Ooh,
that is really specific.
That's very specific.
So it has to be a man, and it has to be with the view for marriage.
Yeah, because a female suitor is called a suitress.
Oh my God. Ooh. I'm going to use that.
Are you going to be a suitress? Sarah the suitress? I think we're changing your name.
Let's change my name. Is it too late to change?
We can change it every few episodes. Just be like, oh, we're now calling you Sarah this. Oh man, Sarah the suitress. So someone who's actively seeking.
It sounds a little bit like sutures, and that makes it kind of gross.
That's true. I hope I'm saying it right then. Maybe I'm not saying it properly.
I think you're right. It's just a little bit sounds like that.
Sutress. Yeah, it's sutress. Yeah. Wow. A female supplicant or suitor. Supplicant. Wow. Oh my goodness. All these words. Well, all your fault, right, Cal Lefkos, for continuing to give us these crazy words.
You're just making us smarter.
Good. Whatever helps, I'll take it. Anything that gets us there. In this relationship that I'm in now, pretty sure she pursued me more than I was pursuing her.
Oh.
For the most part. Yeah, because we were just talking. It was another kind of serendipitous Twitter. It was a Twitter thing too. It was just she asked a question on Twitter that a friend of mine answered, right? And then I just answered. I just gave my own reply, and that snowballed into us like messaging each other every day, and then talking, and like it just snowballed into something. But it was her fault though. She was the one kind of like, hey, she was putting the talons out there trying to grab me. I'm like, I'm flying away. I'm like the little hamster trying to get away from the talons. And
she was the Venus flytrap.
She was. And I was the fly. I was just buzzing around, and I just saw, okay. But, I mean, I'm happy she did because, I don't know. I was really expecting her to go away after, like, our conversation. And she did for, like, a few days. She disappeared. And then she just, out of nowhere, said, hey, where are you? On Twitter. I'm like, I'm right here, and that's kind of how it started. So it was very much her being a suitress in this particular case. But when I was a suitor, I was very open about my intentions, in the real world. Like, again, with my ex-wife, I pursued her actively. I don't know why I did, because I felt that she was out of my league, but I don't know. I had a weird, bold sense of confidence. And so I went after her, and the rest is history. Miserable history.
Oh, yeah.
But it doesn't, but that's fine. In the lead up was fairly, again, I was very straightforward. I let my intentions be known, and it was more just not like, hello, I would like to court you. It wasn't something like that, but I was very interested in her. I wanted to know more about her.
I would like to court you.
I don't know. Sarah, would that work on you?
I would like to court you?
Yeah. If some guy came up to you and said, excuse me. I mean, I know you have a boyfriend now, but I'm just saying, like, if you were single, and if we were single and I went up to you and said, I would like to court you, Sarah. Oh, and then I got my feathers out and I started dancing in front of you.
Yeah, that might be a bit much. The feathers.
Yeah. No, but I mean, I was joking. You don't have to answer that question.
No, I'm not. I mean, okay, like if you said, I would like to court you, to be perfectly honest, that's like on the same level as Milady, and that's just like a no-go.
Oh, yeah.
I think that some people who have just come and be direct about it has like sort of made me interested. But there's a fine line, and like it's like if there's not enough confidence, or if there's just not enough to back it up, and it's just a little bit like nervous, then like that much of like a forward attack can be like I'm not interested. I think that because it's like, unless you're the person who knows you have that confidence, you already know it, you know, you don't have a problem approaching people and getting rejected. It doesn't bother you at all. I think a better plan of attack might just be to chat for a while and then ask them out, you know?
Yeah. And like I said, when I meant that I made my intentions known, I wanted to, like, for my ex at least, it was, I wanted to get to know her. So my first kind of interaction with her was, I'd love to get to know you more. You know, do you have any, you know, we were working, it was a coworker, which is interesting enough. But like, yeah, I wanted to see, do you have time? I'd love to, I don't know, I just really want to get to know you more and whatever. And I don't remember specifically what I said, but it was something to that effect, and she agreed. So it was, we spent a lot of time. I had a lot of leeway in that theater. It was a movie theater, and I had a lot of leeway because people would catch us in like weird places, not doing anything weird, but just hanging out and like talking. And it's like, shouldn't you guys be working? It's like, and I just you shrug a little bit and like, Anyway, so I prefer I sit back, she does all the work. Right. That was cool. Like, that's fun. So, but anyway, I guess that doesn't answer the question. I think really wanting to get to know somebody, I think, is super important. And actively showing that interest in wanting to get to know someone. So if I were being a suitor, I would want to, again, Sara gave a really good reason what not to do, like being overly aggressive and being overly showboaty when in trying to maybe impress or attract a woman. But in my sense, it was more just like, look, I didn't say I find you attractive, but I just said, you are a person who I really just kind of want to get to know. And if you have time, I'd love to, sit down, talk, and just get to know you more. And that was a really good kind of opening. And I think I read somewhere that, and you could tell me if this is where I need your input, is that
okay.
Women like to talk about themselves.
Okay, you know what? Everybody likes to talk about themselves. Actually, I would say a lot of people like to talk about themselves. Some people like to just listen more.
Yeah. Because that's funny. Yeah. Well, I agree. You're right. But it was funny because that was like a tip on some website or something. It's like, talk about her, because women like to talk about themselves. So ask her questions and be interested in her things and all of this other stuff. And I'm like, oh, okay.
That's like something I've learned to do when I want to get to know anybody.
Right.
Is like, and I kind of already do it anyways, but I found after like reading things like that, like, yeah, it actually is true. Like, I like to be more of an observer when I'm meeting new people and like getting to know them, and just like hearing how they feel about things and hearing things that happen and then being like, oh, wow, that's really intense. Like, what was that like? Because I do like their stories, and it's men and women that I talk to. And I think some people are very quiet and reserved, but a lot of people, especially if it's just one-on-one, are comfortable opening up and do enjoy having someone listen to them. It's nice. It's a nice feeling.
Yeah. I mean, that's why I podcast, because I'm the listener. I like to listen. I'm more of the listener type, because I just was at a convention a few weeks ago, and I was getting to know someone there, and they're like, you know what? All I'm doing is talking about myself. What about you? And I said, well, don't worry about me. Nobody needs to know about me. But it's just because I'm more used to, asking questions and trying to get to know somebody. And I'm really fascinated in people's lives. And I use the podcast. All my podcasts, you can learn my entire life story, because this is where I share. Especially when I do it by myself, because I don't think anyone really isn't that interested. I just share there. Sarah's interested because she's nice.
I am interested.
But Sarah's nice. Sara the Suitors is very nice.
Oh my goodness. It sounds predatory. The Sutress. She's coming for you.
Yeah, I know. Yeah. It's like you're a man-eater.
She wants that spot on your ring finger.
Oh, wow. There's the aggression. There you go.
Yeah. Got a gold band picked out just for you.
Wow. So that question on don'ts there, right, Cal? There you go.
Yeah,
that's it right
for
there.
the ladies, don't be as creepy as you possibly can.
I don't know. I think some guys dig it.
Some would dig it. Yeah. I guess know your audience. Read the room.
Yeah. Again, because I don't think there's a lot of aggressive women out there. I don't think in general there are. I mean,
in general, I would say it's probably smaller percentage of women are aggressive.
More aggressive
dating.
Women. Yeah.
I'm sure there's lots of them, but it's just a smaller percentage, I would imagine.
I can see you being aggressive. I can see you. I totally see it. That's.
Can you really?
But it's always the quiet ones.
Oh my gosh.
I'm just saying. That's what that saying exists for a reason. I'm just saying. All right. And let's see. Is there anything else in there that we want to answer as well? What is your opinion of those seeking only short-term companionship versus those who want a long-term one? Does anyone seek short-term companionship? Does anyone seek just to be with somebody for like? Do they put a person with an expiration date on them and be like, I'm going to just be with you for X number of months or weeks or days?
Well, I feel like people do like casual dating, So they might say, I only want to do this maybe until I find someone serious or I get tired of this person. But, I'm trying to think of a situation where someone would have a due date or an expiration date.
Wow.
different kind of thing.
Oh, yeah.
And maybe if like you're going off to college, or you're going to be moving away from each other and that's a tough one though, to like tell your significant other, hey, I actually don't want to be with you anymore once I move away, but we still have 2 months. Hooray.
Was it Christmas is the number one holiday in which people break up?
You are not supposed to break up between just before Thanksgiving and just after Valentine's Day. That is like the window where you're stuck.
Oh, wow. There's the expiration date. Yeah. I guess that's, I don't know. I don't know if there's anyone who actively says, hey, I'm going off to college. We have this number of months. Let's make the most of it. I mean, I guess there are really certain rare circumstances where there's just scenarios where you can't escape it. It's either maybe like a long distance thing, like in my case or something, where maybe there'd be a situation where the distance can never be breached for one reason or another, or it could be summer lovin' too, right? Like there's that whole summer romance that maybe has an expiration date. So once summer's over, you kind of know that both of you know, like it's not going to last much more other than that, because you guys are going two separate ways or whatever. Or maybe you have, I don't know, competing families like the Capulets and the Montagues, and you can't be together because they'll feud and kill each other. So that
is a real thing. Like,
yeah.
Like cultural differences with families where they're like, no, you can't date them.
Yeah. That's got to be less now, though. That can't still be a thing, can it? You think?
It is,
Wow.
And I only know because I'm always like on those advice columns, like giving my opinion to everybody. But I do read things about it's a lot of times like younger people because they still live at home. They still have to listen to what their families say. Mm-hmm. But older people too, it's really important to them that their family, that they're close with their family. And sometimes you just get, you can't build boundaries with your family. It's really, really hard. So
yeah,
it can break up relationships. Even if you really don't want to break up with the person, it's just too hard for them to deal with your family hating them.
That's true. Yeah. No, that's a good point. Yeah, there's just some things that you can't escape in those regards. But I would have to say then that long-term relationships are probably more the norm anyway. I would say like that may be much more the exception than the rule. So, yeah, if people, I'm guessing more people, especially as they get older, are seeking maybe long-term because they want to retire with somebody or grow old with someone. I would think that's my interpretation. I could be wrong, but
well, I think that probably a lot of people want something serious that lasts indefinitely, that's good enough to last indefinitely, but maybe some people don't believe in that, or they don't like relationships for some reason. Maybe some people don't like what you have to give up to be in a relationship, and they prefer casual until they find something serious. But some people maybe don't care to ever find something serious.
Mm-hmm. No, you're not wrong. I don't remember who I was talking to. It was just like, no, I can never do a serious relationship. Who was I talking to? I don't remember. But yeah, they just like, no, it's always going to be just dating around and never settling down. And it's like, okay. I mean, I think that was a lot of questions there, right, Cal? So thank you for all of them. Maybe if we have time in the next episode, we'll answer some more. But I think we got a lot. All right, Anthony, I appreciate this. This was, of course, sent to the email at IsThisLovePod@gmail.com. It may be difficult.
Faster.
Right. Wow.
I mean, we can try to summarize.
If you could go ahead and, if you remember what, like, who are those really fast talk? If you could do it like an auctioneer.
The chipmunks?
Yeah.
Oh, an auctioneer.
Yeah, it's an auctioneer. Or, yeah.
Okay, no, I can't talk as fast as an auctioneer, but I will try to do this quickly. Okay. I am 47, single. I haven't been in a relationship since the early to mid 1990s. As you know, I do deal with many health issues in my life, including diabetes, a slight case of cerebral palsy, heart issues, and a slew of complications because of my health situations that I deal with. Francis, you know that I am a fighter, though. I have to be with all that I deal with health-wise, which is why I push myself to go to the gym 3 times a week and also walking a lot, which I did a 5K walk today, just to prove to myself and others that I did it before 2019, and I did it again, and more than likely will do it again in 2023, or if I find out there's going to be another 5K walk. Sorry. Okay, give me a second. Another 5K walk sometime before then. I'm rather eccentric and eclectic. I have to be so I can stand out for my constant fear of rejection that stems back to my teenage years. I find people who make me a better person, and I can make a better person, and I become their advocate for whatever they have going on. Sometimes not expecting anything in return except a sincere and genuine connection. But I don't get that. At least I know I made a difference in someone's life, and that's all that matters to me. Okay, paragraph 1.
Okay.
All right. Paragraph 2. Now on to the subject of the email. I do and always have found people, women particularly, to be superficial and in many ways to be self-centered. Many do not seem to have the sincere or genuine apathy or sympathy to accept the nice guys or the underdogs. I have a very hard time dealing with this, mostly because I feel like I'm constantly rejected because of a woman's shallow approach to men like me, someone who is disabled and would not or might not be a good catch for them because of my physical and financial status. Okay.
All right. Do you want to answer that first before we go to the next paragraph, or do you want to just?
I'm just gonna keep. I gotta get it. I gotta get it out while I'm on a roll. Okay.
All right, go for it.
Most of this stems back to when I was a teenager and not being able to handle or deal with rejection very well at all, taking me from a very socially outgoing child to a child that was scared to death to be looked at or much less spoken to. Throughout my teenage years, my early 20s, with my Aunt Raynell's help, I had to relearn how to refine myself and learn how to be somewhat social. Now in my late 40s, I am much more social than I was, but I have issues with trust and a constant fear of rejection. Plus, I seem to find all the women who are either taken, just came out of a relationship, online friendships, or women who are superficial and self-centered and really wouldn't want anything to do with a single man who's 47 with multiple health issues and still lives with his mother. What advice could you and Sarah give me?
Okay. Well, weirdly enough, this is exactly kind of the questions I would have expected. Like, this is the kind of stuff you see on Reddit. I'm pretty sure. I haven't looked, but I'm assuming you've seen things like this.
Yeah.
Yes. I haven't looked. I don't do the advice columns on Reddit. I'm too busy like reading about bunnies and stuff. I don't know why, but I cute animals is like keeps me calm. It keeps me centered. All right. All right. First off, I guess my question to you is, why are you so self-centered? And no kidding.
Because I'm a woman.
No.
Sorry.
It's okay. I mean, it's, I understand this point of view. Just because I understand that there are situations in life that make you jaded and make you, what's the word? Resentful even.
Sure, yeah.
When there aren't a lot of positives and a lot of negatives in your life. And I can definitely relate to a lot of this because, I think there were probably, I don't know if I necessarily felt that women were shallow per se, but I have read enough from the Forever Alone subreddit and things like that,
right,
to kind of see that there are men out there much like Anthony in the sense of that they feel that they're being looked over because of certain things. I'm sure you have a lot to say, and I want you to actually start off because maybe I'll be more sympathetic. I don't know, but I'd love to hear what you think about kind of this situation. Do you feel that women often overlook men who are in not the most perfect physical and financial health?
Well, first of all, I want to say, Anthony, thank you for your question. And I am very sorry that I laughed during your email, but it just made me very nervous to read so fast. And that's all that was.
Oh, yeah. Well, and also, here's the thing, too, Anthony. You don't see this, but we have a camera on each other. We could see each other. And I think I was making noises anyway and laughing. So I wasn't helping her in any way, shape, or form get through this.
He doesn't help. He doesn't make this any easier.
I don't make it easy. But if I made it easy on Sara, then this wouldn't be any fun. So I tried to make it as hard as possible.
First of all, it sounds like, your experience has been difficult. Health and any sort of physical handicap is a big deal, and it's often overlooked by most of society. So I am sure that's incredibly hard. I do think that you might have sort of a cynical perspective for dating, it sounds like, and it sounds like it is sort of directed towards women. And I think that's because your experience is dating and romantic rejection from women. You don't have that experience with men. I will tell you, there are plenty of women and some men who believe men are the more superficial gender and believe that men will not give smart, kind, funny, but unattractive women a chance. So, and both sides can argue forever, and neither one's ever going to win because it's completely subjective anecdotal evidence. But the problem is it is a limited perspective, and it can tend to build up walls and kind of close your heart. This is really hard if you don't have a lot of evidence to the contrary, but I really believe, and I have experienced, that if you can open your heart, you can actually let a really great love in faster. But that does take building some faith in the hope that people are good and that there are lots of good people out there and there's lots of great people to meet and that your love match is out there. And it takes not focusing, and I know it's hard when that's most of your experience, but not focusing on the people who are superficial or passed you over, or try maybe focusing on the people in your life who are really good to you, even if they're not, a romantic match. And since you don't have much experience you probably don't know a lot of people who are, dealing with similar health issues as you and have great relationships, maybe think about finding articles or books about people who have found love, who deal with difficult health things, to give yourself some of that hope, to give fuel to that hope and that more positive worldview. And again, I know your experience, I want to validate it. It doesn't mean I think that you had, an easy time and you're just making it sound bad for yourself.
Oh yeah.
Definitely not. Sometimes you have to have faith in something, even though you've experienced badness, have hope and goodness. And I know that might sound a little bit woo and a little bit Pollyanna, but I really have experienced like some crazy stuff with like shifts in perception and shifts in perspective. So I guess that's what I got.
I mean, one of the things that I used to talk about in my other podcasts is, we can't make people do anything. It's really our perception on our situation and how we handle our situation that kind of reflects out towards others, right? So, in other words, if we see things more positively, if we try to turn things around to find a more positive light in things, that actually reflects in our personality, and that's considered attractive. People find that kind of positivity attractive. People want to be gravitating towards that. And trust me, I understand that. Like I said, I understand this mentality of feeling that rejection and feeling like no one would ever want someone who is in this position, right? As a person who, up until recently, this is going to sound really strange. I apologize ahead of time for this sounding really, really strange, but I don't think of myself as a very, attractive person, but I think I have a pretty good personality. I think people seem to like me as a person for the most part. Mm-hmm. And I say for the most part. I'm really sure there's people out there who hate me in some way, shape, or form. But I think I have an okay personality. And I think that's what allows me to navigate my social circles, is that, and even the dating world, is that I don't have to look a certain way, right? As long as I have a personality that's positive, uplifting, that sees the good in people, it tries to look past certain things. Because look, I mean, I always bat over my average, right? Like, I'm always finding myself in relationships with women, and not always. I was 12 years single, but I always seem to find myself with women who may be interested in me, or I interested in them, who actually happen to be attractive, and that freaks me out altogether, right? Because it's weird, but I think it's the personality, right? Like there's something about that's attractive, and I think and it looks like you're. I don't know if you're focusing on women of a particular type. I don't know if you are, just kind of allowing yourself just the energy for women who may be of a particular attractiveness or whatever. But people can be attractive. Like, again, I'm attractive on the inside more than I am on the outside, right? And so if we could, and as such, I become attractive to people because of that thing inside, right? That's how people become attracted to you. You know, oftentimes you'll see couples who you don't really understand why they're together, because there seems to be a difference in attractiveness, and maybe it's really just because that person, they just complement each other so well in so many other ways, personality wise. So I think that maybe that might be a potential. Because, yeah, Sarah's right. Dudes are super superficial. I mean, again, I chased after my ex-wife because she was hot. Like, that's the reason why I wanted to know her more. I didn't know anything about her. She could have been a total terrible woman. I mean, she was, but that's beside the point. I didn't know that at the time. but, she could have. But at the beginning stages, yeah, I pursued her because she was incredibly attractive. And in all honesty, there may have been someone who may have been much better suited for me, who, may not be conventionally attractive. But, I found a lot of women who aren't conventionally attractive so hot because they are just, they as a person are so beautiful on the inside that I just find them so ridiculously attractive. That I know my friends, even at the time, were like, "Are you sure about this?" I'm like, "Yeah, what is wrong? You guys suck." So, dudes. Because guys often do, just like, again, men are visual creatures. We often just kind of focus on beauty. We focus on booty and not on beauty.
I thought you slipped up there, but you did it on purpose.
Nope. I just try to find jokes to make Sarah laugh. But
you're so good at it.
I try. I really do. But there you go. So I think with rejection, yeah, it's it's tough when you're rejected over and over again. I mean, those 12 years I was rejected over and over and over again. I tried. I really did. I tried over and over again. Out of curiosity, have you ever been rejected, Sarah?
Mm-hmm. Yes, I have.
How did you handle it?
Well, so the first really major rejection I can remember was in grade school.
No.
And yeah.
Go on,
it's not as hilarious as you think it's going to be.
No, but you brought this up. But this is, I think, in the episode that never aired, I think you brought this up, and this is why you are the way you are with relationships. I know it's a terrible ending to it. Like it ends badly, but it's just funny that that's like, oh, this is the pivotal point for Sarah right here.
This kind of explains how I deal with rejection going forward. I'm just saying, it's like my origin story. So in elementary school, I had late elementary school, so getting close to middle school, I had a crush on this boy, and I foolishly made it very well known. And he asked me out one day, and I was so excited. And then I found out that pretty much the entire class was in on a joke for him to ask me out. And it just devastated me. And kind of like at that point, I decided that not only was I not going to make it super obvious that I like people, until I kind of felt that there might be some reciprocal like vibes there, but I think I also started the process of learning how to get over people quicker, which can be a good tool sometimes. But I think for a while it caused me to have some walls. I think I can kind of use it in a more healthy way now. Like, I know that if I need to get over somebody, there are steps. There's like just feeling the feelings. You know that certain bad feelings are going to come, and you just have to get through them. And I can't even really articulate what the process is, but I think I got better at getting over people when they didn't like me, even if I really, really liked them. Sometimes it wasn't always that easy. You know, I've had really, really big crushes and they just didn't like me back. And sometimes they help out by being jerks, and that makes it easier to get over them.
No, that's, yeah.
Yeah. So, I've been rejected and it hurts. And I also had a really bleak look when I was younger. You know, when you're younger, you think like everyone's judging you for the things you judge yourself. A couple people like judge you for those things, and you think it's just everybody. So I think I kind of didn't think that I was going to have a lot of luck when I got older, you know, and I found that there were great people out there. And so when someone wasn't a good match, it didn't necessarily make me feel like all men are crap.
Oh, good. That's good. Yeah.
I had met nice guys, even like guys that my friends were with that I knew were nice. I had this evidence that not all men are terrible. So it would be silly to take a rejection that way. For me, I can understand how other people have a different experience. They have not met anyone nice. But for me, I could say, I don't like this person, but it's this person that's the problem. It's not everyone who shares a characteristic with him.
Yeah, it's easy to kind of fall into the trap of generalization and thinking that everyone, if X number or this person here treats me badly, then everyone of similar type will treat me badly, right? Like, I get that. I understand that. And I understand that as we get older, we feel a clock is ticking and we feel like time may be running out. But I don't, look, there have been stories of people in retirement homes in their 80s and 90s finally finding their true love there, right?
Absolutely.
You know, that there's no expiration date to that in finding someone. It just, it's just a matter of when and where, and it may not necessarily be right now. But yeah, you're in a very precarious situation there, Anthony. You have a lot going on. You have a lot of things that you're juggling and a lot of things that you're kind of going through, and it can be really difficult doing that alone. And wanting to have companionship I totally understand that. Wanting to have companionship during your hardest times in life. And though there may not be guarantees allowing yourself to find friends, female friends, who can be that guy. They don't have to be in a relationship with you, but as I mentioned in an episode that never aired, that, or maybe I did, maybe it was off air, but we had briefly talked about how friendship can turn into a relationship, that there's potential there, that a friendship can evolve if there is attraction between the two, and that may be build over time. It doesn't happen immediately. Sometimes two friends can be like, you know what, I never noticed this, but you look pretty snazzy. And then, yeah, like, oh, you're the cat's pajamas. And then
I think that's true. I'm one of those people, I think, like you, who, or you've experienced sometimes, who I do find people's personalities very attractive. Now, that doesn't mean that I don't have like some physical things that I do like, but I've also liked people who didn't have those things because I found them very, very attractive personality wise. And I think that if you start a friendship with someone and they get to know you really, really well, that attraction can build that way. And I don't know. I guess you don't want to like expect it because
no, but the worst thing that you have is a friend who likes you as a friend and who can be your friend. Like, that's the worst case scenario, is you have someone there who cares about you, and it may not be romantic, but you have another person that has your back, and that's a pretty good deal. Not a lot of people, like, I don't have a lot of friends, you know.
No, me neither. I have a very small circle.
Yeah, my circle is tiny. Yeah, Sarah and I have that in common, where we're also very picky about it.
I have a very strict checklist for my friends.
I've seen the checklist. Oh my goodness. Yeah. Wow. Anyway, I won't divulge such secrets, but yeah, anyway, so, and the last thing I kind of wanted to just touch on before we wrap up, because wow, these questions took the entire episode.
Wow.
Yeah. Right. We had articles, but we're just going to move on. I guess we just have to do articles next time. We might have to go back and forth, I think, maybe, because some of the articles are fun to talk about. Well, we'll see. Anyway.
Maybe like one question and one article.
Maybe next time we'll do one question, one article. That's true. I just got excited that we got 2 responses off the bat. I'm like, oh,
I know, this is great, though. Yeah. I'm really glad to answer questions. That's like what we wanted.
Exactly. Yeah, no, this is awesome. So I guess the last thing would be the whole the nice guys are the underdogs. See, the thing is, as far as I've noticed, at least from my observations online, the label of showing off that you're a nice guy, or the label of trying to show off that you're an underdog, is considered unattractive to people, because it shows that you're trying too hard, or that you're having this expectation that because you're a nice guy, you deserve something, or you are owed something. Same thing with being an underdog. You know, underdogs don't always win. They're not owed the win. They're not owed victory. And nice guys aren't owed a girlfriend, or aren't owed attraction. But there is often that, I guess that's label that gets attached to those things. You know, people think, oh, well, I'm a nice guy. There's that, you know, it's the nice guy meme, right? And I'm certain you see it in your advice columns. Like, why don't women like me? I'm a nice guy. And it's like, well, yeah, good. Keep being nice. But the fact that you have this expectation is what turns people off, because most people should be trying to be nice without expecting anything in return. It should be a gesture of being empathetic and courteous and kind, and it shows a genuine goodness if you don't expect to be rewarded for being a particular type of person. You just do it because you know it's the right thing to do. So hopefully that's not something that is being portrayed. I know you're a nice guy. I you know, we've had our conversations. I know you're a good guy, But hopefully if that's not being something that you're kind of vocalizing or saying, hey, look, why I'm a nice guy, you should like me or something like that. As long as you're not doing anything like that, I think that's a good thing. But I do know that there are people out there who do that as a kind of currency for romance. It's like, I'm a nice guy. Here's the proof. Now love me. It's like, unfortunately, it doesn't work that way. But like I said, if you're genuinely nice just to be nice and again, not expect anything back, I think that will, in it of itself, inadvertently give you what maybe you're looking for. If anything, again, just good friends. And I think that's a pretty good thing. Not everyone has good friends either. So,
yeah. Well, and on the nice guy thing, it's not really related to the nice guy specifically, but I've heard, some sentiments more recently, and this is probably something people have talked about for a while, that nice and polite aren't necessarily good. They're more like projections to, get what you want.
Right.
Projections to say, oh, I'm a good person because I do these actions and I say these things. Like, I hold doors open, or I say please and thank you, or I don't raise my voice when I'm being a horrible person to somebody, and I'm not saying that that's you or anyone in particular. I'm just saying this is like kind of this idea that nice and polite aren't actually a good person qualities. Maybe a good person is willing to do things that aren't necessarily nice, like stand up for someone and say, hey, it's not okay to say that because there's other people here that are really hurt by that thing you said. Be seen as nice, but it's a good person thing to do. So nice doesn't mean good person.
Right.
And also most people, we're all the main character of our own movie. So most people think they're good people.
Yeah, I guess that's true.
Yeah. So I guess we all want to be good people, I think, or we want to feel like good people. I'm not really sure exactly how to define the path to being a better person that people can follow. But
again, I think it's doing it without expectation, without, you just do it without with the caveat that you have this like you want that you expect something to come back to you. You just, again, you do it because it's the right thing to do, and it's the good thing to do.
You act with integrity and with like your own moral principles.
Yeah.
And hopefully they sort of line up with human morals, and you're not, kind of deviating too far from that.
Versus
versus like, I want to do what's best for the planet and erase humanity. Like, not those morals.
Yeah, the start of every good sci-fi movie is the destruction of the planet to make sure that we make everyone. Anyway, I love it. I love that you went that path there, Sarah. Nice. I like that. We know who the evil genius is between the two of us. We're getting it now.
No one will suspect it's me.
It's always the quiet ones. I'm telling you, it's always the quiet ones. All right. Well, we'll do another show soon, as always. Thanks everyone for sending that stuff, and thank you, Anthony. Thank you, Raika Lefkos, for sending in your questions. We really do appreciate it. I think that if you are interested in sending, I don't know why I said I think, you should. If you're interested in sending an email, this is when you try not to say and you overthink things and you just say words. You just vomit words that mean nothing to anybody. So please go ahead and send us an email. IsThisLovePod@gmail.com. You can also send us a message at sinceresarcasm.net. Comment on the actual episode, and we'll go ahead and answer your question. If you're wondering, wait a minute, I heard episode 2. You didn't answer my questions. We're one episode ahead, so you're going to have to wait at least a whole episode ahead to get your question answered. But that's it. Yeah. Oh, at IsThisLovePod on Twitter, Instagram, Facebook. That's the place to go. We're going to post articles. We're going to share our insight, and we're just going to do all sorts of fun stuff there. Share with your friends. We already got 20 likes on our Facebook page. It's already like,
yay.
It's barely been a couple days. We're already getting likes everywhere. We already have I think 20-something listens for a show that I haven't really got a chance to advertise anywhere. Really? I haven't even actually been able to shout it out there.
That's awesome.
We're getting people to listen right off the bat, which is really rare. My podcast usually 5 or 6 listeners on the first episode for months. So it's nice to get double digits right off the bat. And that's it. That's our show. Thanks for listening. Sarah and I will be back for another one in a week. So take care of yourselves. Look out for one another. And well, we're out of here. Talk to you all next time. Bye, everyone.